The markets here in Europe will be opening in an hour and 10 minutes time, and the futures indicate there will be a sharp sell-off at the open and a similar story later today on Wall Street. That is the latest in business on Business Today here on BBC News. Stay with us as we keep you up to date.
Live from London, this is BBC News. Global financial markets plunge as a new trading week begins and Trump shows no sign of relenting on tariffs.
I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
Cushioning the blow, the British Prime Minister unveils more support for the UK motor industry to try to counter US tariffs. New details emerge about the Trump administration's major security blunder, which saw a journalist added to a defence group chat. Hello, welcome. I'm Martine Croxall. We begin with financial markets, and it is a sea of red, with stock markets in Asia plunging as President Trump's tariffs continue to send shockwaves and fuel fears of a recession. Some of the day's other news now, and South Korea has tentatively set the date for the country's presidential election to be held on the 3rd of June. It follows the impeachment of former President Yoon Suk-yeol last week over his short-lived attempt at martial law. Police and security officials remain at the residence of the impeached president, who's still living there at the moment. Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro has told supporters at a rally that he wants to build an amnesty for people convicted of storing government buildings in 2023 after he lost the presidential election. Mr. Bolsonaro is in the midst of his own legal battle as he's set to stand trial for attempting to stage a coup against his successor, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The 40th annual Olivier Awards, which celebrate the best of London theatre, have taken place at the Royal Albert Hall. John Lithgow has taken home Best Actor for his role as Roald Dahl in the play Giant. Meanwhile, Leslie Manville won Best Actress in her role in the production of Oedipus. Fire crews are battling wildfires which have spread through a large area of forest in southwest Scotland. Emergency teams were first called to the blaze in Galloway last Thursday. Yolande, for the moment, thank you very much. Yolande, now with the latest on the situation between Israel and Gaza from Jerusalem. Stay with us, plenty more here on BBC News in the hours ahead, including what's happening on those Asian stock markets.
No pain, no gain. Donald Trump tells Americans to hang tough despite heavy losses on global stock markets.
Now, what's going to happen with the market, I can't tell you, but I can tell you our country has gotten a lot stronger. And eventually, it'll be a country like no other. It'll be the most dominant country economically in the world.
The sell-off is intensified today in Asia, with all the major indices plunging. Japan has just finished its trading day down 7%. And sheltering British business from the storm, the government gets set to change gears and relax electric vehicle targets as the car industry faces a bumpy road due to US tariffs. This is Business Today. I'm Sally Bundock, keeping you across all the latest when it comes to financial markets and the money news. So Donald Trump's universal tariffs as continuing to cause shockwaves on financial markets. And in the midst of the turmoil, the US president is urging people to hang tough. OK, Louise, thank you so much for talking us through your take on things. Chief economist there at the CBI. Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News. You're with Business Today. I'm Sally Bundock. Let's bring you up to speed on TikTok. President Trump says China would have agreed to a deal on the sale of TikTok US if it wasn't hit by additional tariffs last week. On Friday, Trump extended the deadline for ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company, to find a non-Chinese buyer, giving it a further 75 days to find a solution. So let's remind you, the market in Japan has now finished its day. This is outside the Tokyo Stock Exchange right now. These are live pictures. You can see people are wandering about. And in the background there, as they walk past, there's the grim news of the close today, down 7.83%. That's today's only declines. The close in the United States. Hong Kong is down over 12%. South Korea, 5.5%. London and European markets open in 10 minutes. I'll be back at the top of the hour with Martine to tell you how the day begins here in Europe. Stay with BBC News. So, as I mentioned, we'll have more on business at the top of the hour, but now let's focus on other stories. It has been almost 20 years since the death of Jean-Charles de Menezes, who was shot dead by police in London after being mistaken for a terrorist. And suspect the shooting of Jean-Charles de Menezes starts on the 30th of April on Disney+, if you wish to see that documentary in full. Now, though, time for the weather with Carol Kirkwood.
Live from London, this is BBC News. Global financial markets plunge as a new trading week begins and President Trump shows no sign of relenting on tariffs.
I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
Cushioning the blow, the British Prime Minister unveils more support for the UK motor industry to try to counter US tariffs. New details emerge about the Trump administration's major security blunder, which saw a journalist added to a defence chat group. Hello, welcome. I'm Martine Croxall. We start with the continuing turmoil in the financial markets. The DAX in Frankfurt has just opened. And in Asia, it's been a sea of red, with stock markets plunging as President Trump's tariffs continue to send shockwaves and fuel fears of a recession. This is my colleague, our business presenter, Sally Bundock. And Sally, obviously, you've been on air the last few hours looking at the chaos in the Asian markets.
It's very unpredictable.
Jockeying for position, yes, keeps us guessing. And yes, I do listen, Sally. Thank you very much. Thank you. Most of the time. Let's go to our Asia Business Hub and get the latest on what's happening on Asian share markets. Mariko Oy is with us. Mariko, we were just touching on some of that. Just give us a flavour of the ups and downs through trading today. Bob Wells from the Global Empowerment Mission. Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News. Details have emerged about how Donald Trump's national security advisor added a journalist to a Signal group chat about plans for US strikes against the Houthis in Yemen. According to The Guardian and CBS News, just a reminder of the big falls that we're seeing on European stock markets as they open following the imposition of those US tariffs. Some really big falls. At one point, Germany's DAX sank by 10%. More in the business news in a few moments with Sally. This is BBC News, the headlines. Global financial markets plunge as a new trading week begins and President Trump shows no sign of relenting on tariffs. Cushioning the blow, the British Prime Minister unveils more support for the UK motor industry to try to counter US tariffs. New details emerge about the Trump administration's major security blunder, which saw a journalist added to a defence group chat. Carnage, one of the words being used to describe what's happening on the financial markets. Sally can tell us a lot more. Sally?
I can indeed. It is a sea of red, Martine. It's not a pretty sight at all. The European trading day has just begun and we're seeing dramatic declines on stock markets across Europe as Donald Trump's universal tariffs continue to cause shockwaves around the financial world. So that is all from me. I'm going to go and lie down in a dark room for a bit.
Yeah, do.
I will see you later.
OK, yeah. I'll come and find you if you go missing. Thank you, Sally. You're watching BBC News. The mother of a Brazilian man shot dead in 2005 by British police who mistook him for a suspected terrorist has said she'll continue to fight for him. Let's just remind you of the situation on the European stock markets, which have opened down today. Let's take a look at what's happening in Frankfurt on the DAX, currently down at 6.3%, but at one point was down almost 10% in early trading. Meanwhile, the FTSE 100 now down just over 5%, but was down almost 6% as well. That follows what we'd seen in Asia in early trading there, where there was a great reaction to the imposition last week of the US tariffs. But President Trump staying the course, saying sometimes medicine is needed to fix the problem. This is BBC News.
Hello again. The weather this week for most of us is going to be dry, settled